Hey, everybody. So, I wish I came with better news, but people don't seem to listen to me. It's really unfortunate. Throughout the whole of the pandemic, I've made it a point of saying that I think that we need to treat this very seriously, and my definition of serious seems to be very different than others. My belief is that we need to normalize masks. Asian countries have already done this, and there's some very real reasons why this is good. Please see the video that I will try to put maybe up here-ish to prove that point. But the fact of the matter is that people don't want to listen to that. People want to go back to normal. And I understand that at a psychological level. There's a desire to go back to normalcy because going into pandemic was traumatizing for people. The problem is that you don't deal with trauma from running from it. You don't deal with trauma from hiding from it. You deal with trauma by facing it slowly and clearly. And I think that's something people need to start doing with the pandemic, because shit is getting worse. I mentioned in the opening that we had gone hiking today, and we looked over at the beach area that's part of the hiking area we go walk at, and there were several hundred people just in large groups and doing their thing. Other than the obvious, segregation between various races, the fact of the matter is that there was such a huge preponderance of people that it begs the question of what is even happening. The idea that every single person there at the beach is vaccinated seems unlikely to me, especially considering the fact that we're still having trouble with getting everyone vaccinated. Depending on where you're located, and I'm in sadly a very somewhat conservative area, the likelihood of everybody there being vaccinated is actually rather low. So we got to fucking talk about this shit, because there's this belief that COVID's over. We should just move on, and there's just a couple random cases and things. No, anti-vaxxers should be shunned from society. I'm sorry. They're an existential threat. I hold them up there with conservatives, which, same thing. Second verse, same as the first. Like, the simple fact of the matter is that if someone can demonstrably shown to be a harm to the species, I think that they need to be considered in a very different way. And that may mean just making them politically irrelevant. It may mean taking away their power. It could mean a number of things. Read into that what you will. You know me. I believe in rehabilitation. I do not believe in atrocity. I certainly don't believe in political violence, at least not in except for the most extreme cases. What I do believe in is making people politically cease to be a threat to me and mine. And that means all trans people. Your boss is an asshole, Hypnotic Genes, just saying. But let's get into this, because this is what I was talking about in the other videos. Viruses have a bad habit of doing something, and we've talked about this before, specifically mutating. The Delta strain is real, and it is dangerous. It is far more infectious and far more problematic. And as I keep being reminded by certain people in my fucking server, different vaccines work differently with Delta. For example, and we'll read this in the article, if you have the Pfizer, you're probably okay. If you got the Johnson & Johnson, you've been sold a really weird bill of health. Enjoy your 2/3% chance of being okay, right? Moderna hasn't put out formal records, at least the last time I spoke to the person in the server that was going on about this and posting data. If you're in chat, if you want to post anything, has Moderna updated anything since we spoke last? I doubt it, because it's been over the weekend. But yeah, if you have anything, feel free to post it in chat. So let's get into this, because I think this shit's important. What is a COVID-19 vaccine breakthrough case?
What is a COVID-19 vaccine breakthrough case? It's when a fully vaccinated person gets infected with the coronavirus. A small number of such cases are expected, and health officials say they're not a cause for alarm. COVID-19 vaccines work by teaching the body to recognize the virus. So if you're exposed to it after vaccination, your immune system should be ready to spring into action and fight it. In studies, the two-dose COVID-19 vaccines by Pfizer and Moderna were around 95% effective at preventing illness, while the one-shot Johnson & Johnson shot was 72% effective, though direct comparisons are difficult. So while the vaccines are very good at protecting us from the virus, it's still possible to get infected with mild or no symptoms, or even to get sick. If you do end up getting sick despite vaccination, experts say the shots are very good at reducing the severity of the illness, the main reason to get vaccinated. Most people with breakthrough infections experience mild illness, said Dr. William Moss, a vaccine expert at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health.
So let me just bring up what we have in our COVID-19 info. By the way, if you join the Discord, if we can put the Discord in chat, I see Tiamat already did. Thank you, Tiamat. So one of the things that our resident pedantic individual brought up, I'm joking, I love you, stop. Yeah, it doesn't mean don't get vaccinated. It means get fucking vaccinated and still be careful. So if I can find the post, essentially what they found with Delta is that, and I'll read this verbatim, is according to a video by Dr. Mike Hansen called "Is COVID-19 Vaccine Effective Against Delta Variant?" The spoiler is yes. However, it's a bit less so, and I don't mean a bit, I mean a decent amount. If you have the J&J vaccine, that is the Johnson & Johnson one. Moderna, we don't know yet, but as far as the Pfizer and the AZ are the only companies who have released numbers, and they appear to be, Pfizer is around 88% effective at preventing symptomatic infection against Delta in comparison to the 95% versus the original strain. So it's an 88% difference, or it's 88% versus 95. Not terrible, right? We're only talking about a 7% difference. However, while Moderna hasn't released their numbers, though again, that's another, another mRNA vaccine. My guess would be is that one will be up there as well, but I could be wrong. However, based on what this individual could remember, the J&J vaccine is 67% effective against Delta variant, which is massive. That means 1/3 of people who have that vaccine are at risk. Which means if the virus can get to a certain amount, that means, yes, no licking doorknobs. We are a doorknob licking stream. Lick your vaccinated friends, not doorknobs. Let's move on. Can I grab onto this and not fuck it up? There we go.
In the US, people who weren't vaccinated make up nearly all hospitalizations and deaths from COVID-19. It's difficult to determine why any particular breakthrough case happens. How much of the virus you're exposed to could be a factor, Moss said. Our individual immune systems will also affect how well we respond to the shots. Some people, for example, have health conditions or take medications that could make their immune systems less responsive to the vaccines. People might also have been exposed to the virus before the shots took full effect. Though less likely, they may have received a dose that was improperly stored or administered, Moss said.
Ooh.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention notes variants could be factors in some breakthrough cases, though evidence so far indicates the vaccines used in the US are protective against them. Health officials are also watching for signs that breakthrough cases are rising, which could signal that protection from the vaccines is fading and boosters are needed.
Yeah, so this was a discussion that was had in our server a little bit about this, is that the thing was brought up is there was a sort of frustration with some of the folks in the server about the idea that why is the news, which we have talked about on stream briefly, why is the news just giving a roundabout percentage for all these different vaccines when they clearly work different? The simple fact of the matter is my guess is for one of two reasons. Either one, we know the CDC can be bent over like a bitch. They did it for Trump. And so they're trying to prevent people from being upset because if you're one of the people that got the Johnson & Johnson and you find out that you have less protection and you've been going around licking doorknobs, then guess what? You might be fucked. Right? Or at least percentage-wise, have a higher percentage of being fucked than, say, like, I don't know, someone with a Pfizer. I'm a Pfizer babe myself, but that was entirely luck. Yes, let the billionaires lick the space doorknobs. I agree. But the point with this is that right now, there is still this notion by which everybody wants normalcy back. And here's the problem. There's nothing wrong with that desire. There's nothing wrong with that want. I'm telling you very clearly that there's nothing wrong with it, but it's irrational thinking. It is you desperately scrambling for something to claw at, something to grab at, some way to get back to your life where you were asleep constantly. Being in COVID land is exhausting. It is tiring. It is hard. It is difficult. Why? Because by definition, you have to constantly keep up with hand washing, more so than anyone else did. Don't fucking lie to me. You have to avoid people. You have to be mindful of your space. You have to be mindful of your body, mindful of how well you keep yourself clean, mindful of how you engage, mindful if you're wearing your mask. It requires a greater amount of effort on almost every level of your day-to-day life. Remember at the beginning of the pandemic when we thought there was a chance COVID could be brought in on, say, your groceries and everyone had to go through and wipe their shit down? That's fine for a day or two, but for months upon months? I get it. This shit's tiring. It requires more energy of you. You can't just fall asleep and walk through life half asleep. When I talk about like being awake or asleep on this channel, I don't tend to talk about it in very like off in the realm spiritual things unless we're talking about like integral theory. What I'm talking about here is that being mindful, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your body, being aware of your mind are important things, but they take time. They're like muscles they have to build. And a lot of people got suddenly thrown into weightlifting. A lot of people. And I get that. I get that this shit's hard. But there's no excuse for this. You have to look at those feelings of wanting it to go back to normal as irrational, if only for the fact that they push you into doing things that are harmful for other people. If you are going around indoors and not wearing a mask, you are a danger to others. Even Fauci has said that he thinks that people should be doing so. Obviously, he's had to temper the statement because the Biden administration, I would guess, doesn't want people to panic or have problems, but I can't say for sure. I could be making shit up. Who knows? But my read on it every time I see people talk about this is everybody wants to get back to normal, including the politicians, and we're not doing it. I'm sorry, guys. Normal is gone. I can speak for my own self, and that is that COVID has traumatized me on at least two levels. One of them is that I got to see my species do some of the dumbest shit in my lifetime I've ever seen, and I got to do it in the process of transitioning. That fucks with a person. Because I knew if these people couldn't just get together and actually wear a fucking mask and actually try to stop this thing together, what good are civil rights? What good are fucking trans rights? What, like, these people can justify anything. At that point, what's to stop them from just, chasing me down in the street? That shit fucks with you. Seeing people go through hell like that fucks with you. And on top of that, I think I might have had COVID. One of the things that I haven't talked about this channel enough is the effects of COVID when you're somebody who survives it. Everybody talks about the deaths, which again are well into the 600,000s, if not almost 700,000 now, if they've added in the USA Today numbers, which is about another 75,000. Sadly, the channel I use anymore, Track Corona, isn't up anymore because Stanford ended the program because vaccine came out and those people all graduated. But the fact of the matter is that by all rights, a lot of this stuff really, really fucks with you. And when you have had COVID, and I think I might have, me and Zena have gone over this again and again, we're actually looking into doing specialized testing because we think that COVID made our actual chronic illnesses worse. My migraines in the history of my lifetime have never been this bad, right? Like, my migraines haven't been this bad, my sinus headaches have been this bad or this frequent. My anxiety, my depression, everything over the course of COVID got worse. And not just because I wasn't going out and seeing people. I was socializing regularly on at least 3 different servers. And spoiler alert, one of them was this one, which is constantly active since we started the channel. It's not that I'm not getting social engagement. It's that I think COVID fucked with something neurologically. And to all the transphobes out there, shut the fuck up. It has nothing to do with me being trans, you idiots. What it has to do with the fact is my memory's a little worse, or I have a hard time recalling everything, or my memory's worse. That was a joke. Or, for example, I tend to get more panicked easily. A lot of things that are really difficult. This is a problem. Yeah, they're at the exact same level as at winter. Yeah, Schubert do. This is the insanity. Emily Chambers said, "Oh, what? Like disabled and chronically ill people always live? Normally is not fracking objective. What's functional and sustainable for you and society, otherwise normal is for the dryer." Yeah. Once again, what is normal to the spider is chaos to the fly, right? What's normal to someone like Elon Musk, who can just fly off into space and try to live on Mars so he can fuck it, right? Just jam his dick right in one of those holes and just pump until he creates a special Mars race. That is not something that is accessible to us. To us, that's chaos because no, I think we have been. I think if you look at the numbers, you realize just how bad this is getting. And I feel like there's a way to protect people from panic. Okay, someone posted something giant in stream chat. Please don't post that stuff in stream chat. Please. Let's see here. This is actually, I'll let it go for this one time. Rona said, "It's okay. I'll just read it. Don't delete it. People who've recovered from COVID-19 tend to score significantly lower on intelligence tests compared to those who have not contracted the virus, according to new research published in the Lancet Journal of Clinical Medicine. The findings suggested that SARS-CoV-2 virus that caused COVID-19 can produce substantially reductions in cognitive ability, especially those with more severe illness." Yep. I'll even say something to you, so I'm not going to reveal who had said it because I don't want to get them in trouble. But one of the friends I know who happens to have a very, very advanced degree, I won't say in what, won't say how, won't say who they are. But I will say this. In a private conversation, they did mention to me that if they could, and this would mean getting around ethical standards, right? You can't do this in real life. You would test a bunch of people and see what happens when you infect COVID on them, because people who seem to deal with COVID seem to also have higher risk tendencies. And they actually compared it to, I believe it's pronounced toxoid plasmosis, the disease that you get from cats that like makes you a cat servitor and seems to reinforce gender norms. Toxoplasmosis gondii. Thank you. They basically kind of connected it to that because there was some very like sort of inductive evidence that showed that people's behavior and actions change. So cognitive would go right with that. That's entirety. Yeah. So toxoplasmosis gondii actually causes like weird effects on gender. What I've seen is, and I can look this up later, but essentially what it does is it sort of causes men to behave in ways that we'd say are statistically more masculine and women to behave in more statistically more feminine ways. I'm not going over that right now, but look it up. It's weird. But that's the thing we're talking about with COVID. We are dealing with a disease we've never dealt with before that is causing long-term damage to people's lungs, heart, nervous system, brains. The simple fact of the matter, I mean, basically the argument that Hood Nature made for it, and I heard it before him, so calm down. But Hood Nature's argument was it's basically gender police cat servitors who are essentially trying to reinforce gender norms so you will be their slaves. Cats have used parasites to control us. They had no reason to be domesticated other than they wanted us as their servitors. Never forget.
Turned into a conspiracy channel.
I mean, never silence the truth. Your cats are taking over. What did I say? I didn't say shit. Anyway, I'm going to end this segment here, but I'm going to be really clear, guys. Like, please take care of yourselves. Please wear masks. Please wash your hands. For the sake of people who are disabled, chronically ill, for the sake of old people, for the sake of people who are immune compromised. This is about showing that you have the basic level of human care for others. Simple as that. And I know there's some libertarian motherfuckers that are going to stumble across this channel and basically say it's not my responsibility. No. On some grand scale, I suppose you could argue that. But see, I live in the real world. A world where we try to minimize the harm to society and try to make things better. So you have fun in crazy libertarian world where the cops have to yell Subway eat fresh before they pull their guns, and I'll see you later. Yes, wash your hands, wear your masks. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching.